What's up, asshats? Alrighty, so I am going to uh, give some of my notes and just kind of thoughts on Dooba Dooba's Taking a Crack at Diva video. I'm going to kind of skip around a little bit more as opposed to just kind of running through the entire video and giving my thoughts. I've kind of watched this a few times. As you can see, the 11 views, those are all me. But I kind of have some notes, and I thought it'd be better if I kind of went to each example of those notes as opposed to, just watching the whole thing straight through. So I kind of had three different categories of things I want to talk about. Number one is your booster usage, use of your shift ability. The second thing is going to be your engagements. That's probably going to be the bulk of the things I talk about. And the third one is going to be the ult usage. So overall, there's a lot of really good plays. And there's a play, I wouldn't say mistakes, but more just a few things where, I would say, like I said, it's not really a mistake per se. It's really just something that could have been, instead of a good play, could have been a great play kind of a thing. So, yeah, I guess let's get started. The first thing I wanted to talk about is the booster usage. So this is kind of a, I don't know, more, I guess, slightly advanced tip slash nitpick kind of thing. One thing that I've learned and kind of developed a habit into doing is whenever you use your boosters, I like to think of it as, I'm trying to go from where I am to somewhere else. The second I've traveled to where I want to be, I want to end my booster usage immediately. So usually with melee is usually the best way. If you melee, it'll end your booster ability. And really the main reason for that is you want to start this cooldown as soon as possible. So, like even a lot of times if you get 2 seconds of boosters, if you only need 1 second, just go ahead and end it and then start the cooldown. You get one, you'll have it up 1 second early. And even if it's, half a second early or even a fraction of 0.3 seconds early, like that could be potentially, if you're in the thick of a battle, having your boosters ready to escape 0.3 seconds early, that could even be the difference between getting demeched or not. I don't think there was ever a time where this tip would have caused you to not get demeched, or so I don't know if this had any real consequence on this game. It's just something, as I was watching, I noticed it's probably be a really good habit to develop as Diva that would kind of help you in situations potentially. So let me kind of give you some examples of what I'm talking about here. No. Let me turn this down a little bit. So right here. Alright, you boost away and you use your entire 2 seconds here. You could have easily just boosted behind this wall, meleeed, boom, good, you're good to go. And like I said, this is kind of an example. Didn't really matter. It's not like you needed that boosters right then, but like I said, you don't know that. That's something that you're kind of just wasting all this time. That cooldown could get started early. And another thing I forgot to mention is there's two benefits of this. One is starting the cooldown earlier, but the second one is if you get in the habit of always meleeing to end your boost, like that's just good muscle memory to always melee after your boost, because a lot of your boosting is going to be boosting into people, and the boost and melee, you kind of have 2 hits on that person as opposed to 1. So it's just good to add your muscle memory to, boost and then melee somebody. So yeah, that's and there's kind of a lot of examples of you doing this. This is pretty common, I think. Like I said, you just kind of boosted, which by the way, that was a really good great way to finish off the Diva. That's a good use of that, boosting to have somebody that's really low on health. Great way to finish off a target. Really, really good job. The only thing is, once you're done, like I said, I would have just meleeed, boom, and, you know, go ahead and stop using bushes there. Let's see. We got 346.
I'm back in the fight.
Kind of. Then this was probably even more subtle, kind of smaller deal here. You kind of went up. You actually go a little slightly past. It looks like you're going up here to go to this window, right? You boost up here. You actually boost past the window and then walk backwards. You know, that's just kind of one of those things. If you're kind of develop this habit, you could boost right now, honestly, and then even your momentum would kind of carry. You could just walk this extra 2 steps, and you could have an extra, you know, potentially, you know, almost over half a second to
I'm back in the fight.
Get your boosters back just a little bit earlier there. So yeah, and I'm actually going to talk about this engagement here in part 2. But for now, I'm going to kind of focus on the boost abilities. Let's see, where was the next one? It's at 525.
Much obliged.
Thank you, guys. I'm moving the
Yeah, that's just kind of another example of you're not really. The goal of your boost here is kind of what I'm saying is like you're thinking about, I want to go up on top of this bridge. You're not really killing anybody at the top of the bridge. You just want to get up there. So I would just get up here, end your boost, and then assess what's going on. You know, because once you get up here, you might decide you want to use your boosters again, and having access to it 1 second sooner, you know, that could, you know, end up helping you.
Thank you, guys. I'm moving.
But let's see. So yeah, I kind of got some of my gameplay and just for as an example. So I'm just going to give you one example of a time, or just one of my D.Va plays where this came into play. I boosted in, meleeed the D.Va, ended my boosters probably after 1 second or so. Yeah, so it's about I used probably about 1 second instead of the full 2 seconds. And then, oh, I get pinned by Ryan. Oh crap, shit's hitting the fan. And I, honestly, if I had used the full 2 seconds, I might have either fallen down, or gotten killed. Like, very, very good chance I would have died if I didn't have the boosters 1 second earlier. So that's just, like I said, one example that I found of a situation where it's not, like I said, it's not going to help you every single time you use your boosters. It's just, if you develop that habit, it's you know, the times it does come into play, it could be life or death. So let me go back to your game here. So kind of to move on. This was a situation where, let me kind of show you first. So I wouldn't say that you over boosted here, but if you kind of had that habit of always meleeing after your boost, you could have got more damage on that D.Va by doing a melee there. So, like I said, let me. I think I went back too far. Yeah, here we go. So you go, boom. If you could have done, you got 2 boops and then a melee. That, you know, you could have got a lot more damage in on that D.Va. And then, looks like the Genji still finishes him off. So, like I said, didn't really have a lot of consequence. It was just, this is kind of the same little tip that, you know, if you just multiple examples of when you could have used it. Overall, like I said, it didn't hurt your game at all. You had a lot of good plays. It's just, you know, some examples of when you could have used it. Okay, so now the next thing. I'm still going to stay on the topic of the boost, but actually the next one's kind of right here in the center. So you kind of fly around. This probably would have been best if you would have just flown away, just completely get out of here. You're getting some healing, so I get why you turned around and came back, but yeah, it looks like you ended up getting demeched, and just doing that little fly, like that little turnaround. You're still using all your boost, but also you're flying, you've only got 242 left. I mean, that's not really bad per se. I'm not really sure why I wrote this time down. Anyway, I'll just move on. So the next thing, that was just kind of all one, just piece of advice. Those are just multiple examples of it. The big thing I want to talk about is some of the engagements that you went in. So I kind of wrote down most of the meaningful engagements that you went in, and just want to kind of comment on each one of them. So the first one is at the very start of the game. The game starts, you walked out, and you see a tracer right here, and you throw your missiles at her, which there's nothing wrong with that. She ends up zipping away, so you don't actually kill her. That's fine. She's hard to hit. It comes into play though, because what happens next is you see a widow up here. Your widow gets a kill, and right here, what's going through your head, I'm sure, is, yo, let me kill this widow. That's perfect. That's exactly the target. In this situation, you get right here, you see widow. That's exactly what you should be thinking. That's really good. But I guess the thing to note is that you just use your missiles. You still got 7 seconds. So, you're going to boost up here. This honestly is not bad. This is still really good. Honestly, even if you don't have your missiles and you want to boost up here, that's still good. The only thing I would think though is if I'm going to boost up to a widow and I don't have access to my missiles, I would be of the mindset of I'm probably not going to kill the widow. But getting up here and bumping in her face, you're forcing her to run away. So that's still a good, still a good engagement. Yeah, but I would just say that I would probably, in the back of my mind, the whole time I'm going up here, I would probably be thinking, I'm probably not going to be able to kill this widow because, she has a grappling hook. She can hook really far away and just get the heck out of there. I had to use my boosters just to get up here. I'm probably not going to be able to fall around. So honestly, I think this was a good idea to get up here, get the widow out of the way. You decide to follow her and keep going. I think dropping down was probably a little too far. It's probably overextension here. But I mean, it's kind of weird. At the time you dropped down, you didn't know that there was going to be a tracer and a mercy here. And then you kind of make the smart decision and you say, I'm getting out of here. This is a excellent use of your boosters. Using your boosters to escape is, probably the #1 best use to do that. So that was good. Like I said, I think you overextended just a hair there, but then you were able to get out of there. So that was really good. So the next.
Bailing out. I'm back in the fight.
Alright, so it looks like kind of similar situation. You are on the ground, you hear, okay, I booped the widow away, but now, she grappled hook back up there, so now she's back in position. So you boost through this window, which I think this is the best way to go get that widow. I guess, theoretically, you could either go around to the left, you could just go directly hit her face on, or you could go this way. The left probably isn't great, but the danger of going straight in the middle is she could snipe you on the way there, or there's probably a lot of enemies in that bottom hallway, so you're probably going to take some damage on your way there. So this is definitely the better route to take. downside was you weren't able to, bumped her out of the window, and now she's, probably has a grappling hook and is probably going to be able to escape. Like, nothing really much you could have done there. I thought that was pretty well played. It did about as well as you could have done. Not much you could have done. It was, you're pretty persistent in, like, that was, God, you just almost got her. I mean, like, honestly, just any combination of just, like, one more rocket landing or very, very, any small thing, you could have finished her off, but just didn't quite get it. Like I said, really well played. It just didn't quite get it there. I guess might have been better if you ran away a little bit more instead of staying on the payload. But honestly, that Diva's right behind you, so she was going to get you probably no matter what. So scratch that. Let's see. The next engagement I wanted to talk about was right here. Okay, so let's see. Alright, so you're boosting in the middle. I think this is one where you go get the Widow again. Yeah, so you basically, the Widow, she's sniping people. She's still kind of causing havoc up there, so you kind of smartly say, again, I gotta go get that Widow. I started this too early.
Time to raise
Yeah,
my
now you're going
DVA.
again. So
Boosters engaged.
this was, unfortunately, she freaking escapes. She keeps moving, so I think that, I thought she was up there. You probably did too, but she actually moved over. She's actually already running away by the time you get here, which kind of stinks because she's pretty sure she's faster than you when you don't have your boosters. So just walking straight towards her, she's probably just gonna be able to outrun you and hook away. And but you do your boosters. The only thing I would say is if you think she's gonna run away and kind of go behind, you might consider staying near the window. That way you could, instead of following her, maybe try to cut her off if you have a chance to do that. But overall, that's, probably wouldn't got her anyway. Just, just something I thought of. But anyway. Okay, so the next engagement, going after the Widow again. Man, this is a lot of you going after the Widow. I didn't even realize that, but that's good. That's your job. You're definitely doing your job here. Every time you see this Widow, you're diving in her face, trying to get to her. Ever since they freaking buffed her grappling hook and she gets it, I think it's 8 seconds. She's a lot harder to kill now because she can just zip around, get wherever she wants. But so you almost got her there, and Mercy's Valking, so she's probably gonna heal her here.
Someone help me,
Yeah.
Don't get close. Ejecting.
I thought you went and got the Widow again. Maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe I'm thinking of a different engagement. But either way, you got demech, but that was, good thinking to go after the Widow. Definitely. This was, oh yeah, this was a,
Back in the fight.
we kind of talked about the same boost earlier, about, ending that boost earlier. One thing I wanted to note here, this was a really smart not engagement. So this is just a really, really tempting target to just jump down and shoot boosters in her face. I thought you saw her, you shot some rockets at her, but luckily you didn't actually jump down and you start getting sniped. You start getting a ton of damage at you, so you smartly kind of walk away. I wanted to point that out because that's this really easy bait to just jump down there and start getting in, and that was a really good play. Really good decision. Let's see, 436. Alright, so let's see. This is the Widow one I was thinking of earlier. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you boost, go and target the Mercy. That's really good. Kind of how I was saying before earlier, it's, you know, kind of good idea to try to cut people off as opposed to chasing them. You can really kind of maximize your booster. So I don't know, you might have tried to, as you're going through the window, take one step backwards and cutting her off there, as opposed to, you know, it's just a little bit longer to go around, go get her. You might have, like I probably would have, just walked backwards and cut her off. But you still end up killing her because Ryan has a really good heads up play, and you know, you kind of keep her out. You don't lose sight of her, and you still kill her. That's really good. First is always the best target to prioritize. So let's see. What's our next engagement? So this was, I guess I just want to point out that this was a really good target to prioritize. You know, you just boost, let me go boost towards this Mercy. But at this point in the game, this Widow has just been kind of really impacting the game a lot. And I don't know, it might have been a good idea to target the Widow instead of the Mercy, weirdly enough, just because she's gets several shots on you and he hits you. But like I said, not a bad idea. Just the Widow's been kind of such a game changer for them. You might have considered going for the Widow instead there. So the next engagement is, you did a good job getting back in mech before they killed you, and but you know the thing about this is kind of a thing. I honestly still am not great at it. Whenever you get back in mech and there's people shooting at you, it's easy to lose track of how much health you have. It's easy to just think like, oh, I'm back in mech, I'm at full health. Well, you know, that other diva was just rocketing you in the face while you're getting mech'd. So this is, like I said, probably something I do a lot, is you get back in mech and you want to get back in the fight, you kind of escape and just turn around and say, and kind of get right back in the fight. But by the time all that happens, you're down to 215 health. Really, ideally, you know, you should have just kept going and run away. But like I said, I totally get it. It's like when you're watching in real time, it's like you get in mech and think like, all right, let me just kind of get in position and start shooting things. But by the time you get here, it's like too late. You're at 218 health. You get through mech here. Well, maybe not. Oh yeah, see. But so yeah, that's one thing I kind of keep. I think the whole root of that was whenever you were getting back into mech, you kind of started at half health because they were putting damage. You know, while you're getting a mech, you're kind of vulnerable for a solid second or so, where they can, you know, put a lot of damage in your mech. So that's just one thing to keep in mind, is when you first get back in mech and they're shooting you, you might glance down at your health and see, you know, do I need to bail, or do I, you know, am I okay to, you know, engage? But let's see, we've got a couple more here. 655. Alright, that was, this time you did go for the Widow. That was really good, really accurate missiles there. Really good, you know, good job boosting up there. This kind of goes to what I was saying before, this, kind of the very first engagement with this Widow. The fact that you got her to jump off this ledge and run away, honestly, in the back of your mind, you should be saying, all right, that was a win. I did a good job. I got her to run away. She's not in position to snipe people. Obviously, the best case scenario is you kill her, but like I said, that was still, still a good job. I thought that was a good engagement. Yeah. So let's see. There's one more engagement I wanted to talk about, and this is the very last engagement. And this is kind of lead me in from part 2 to part 3. Your ultimate usage. So this is pretty much 6, 7 seconds left. You I guess I should probably note, you get here and you guys wait for the team, and you're clearly, grouping up. Let's get one push together. So that was, you were kind of keeping an eye on your teammates, how they're coming. And then I thought that the timing was really, really good. I thought of, you were kind of seeing where those blue lines were, where your teammate was. You said, okay, they're right behind me. We're down to 7 seconds. Let's go. And although this soldier came out of nowhere. I've watched this like several times, and I still don't know where the soldier came from. Like where was it? What was he doing over there? Like you turn over here and look several times. He's not there. Where is he at? Why was he back here? I don't know. But you see him. You start shooting at him. The only thing I would say is, if you're going to use your rockets here, I totally get why you did this. This makes a lot of sense, and it wasn't really bad, but I would say that if you're going to, a soldier, he's got his back towards you. You're staring at his back. You're using your rockets at him. You really should get this kill. There's like I said, you're literally staring at the back of his head. You're using an ability. Like I said, it's with the sound. I can't say I wouldn't have done the same thing, because, with 6 seconds left, you're in quick play. You're not playing with anybody. Like, you don't know if anyone's getting on the point or not. If you were playing with the Handsome Six, I think you should trust that somebody on your team is going to get on the point. And if you're going to use your abilities here, you should really just finish this guy off here. But like I said, I totally get it. In the back of your mind, you're thinking, like, I don't know who these fools are. We've been burnt so many times by randos not getting on the point, so you kind of just abort that engagement and decide to go on the point. And then what ends up happening here, the soldier, he somehow makes his way. I don't even know where he's at, but he ults. Oh yeah, there he is. He's right there. He has got you in my sights, and he ends up demaking you. You got him with your ult, but yeah, that was kind of, as Chas would say, unfortunate. But like I said, I totally understand why you did that, and like I said, the only reason I'm bringing it up is if it were, playing with a team. I think staying there the extra second, just going and killing that soldier would have been the best move there. And kind of in the same realm of this engagement, kind of talk about your ult usage a little bit. You kind of drop it right here. Oh, whoops, what happened? That's a good, if you're going to drop it somewhere, that's a good thought to, this is kind of the general vicinity of where you want to be, because this is where the action is. I think there's a few different. I'm going to go through all your ult usages, by the way, but there's a few different scenarios on when you're ult. This one, I would say, this is when you're in overtime. Everyone's kind of struggling. It's kind of chaos. Just everyone's all over the place. Everyone's just trying to, not lose the game pretty much, because you're in overtime. The second you get off the point, the game's over. This is really kind of prime ult usage time for D.Va. This is when you're going to get your best ults off. This is when people don't really see it coming, or a lot of times you're too scared to leave the payload, so everyone's got to be here. You're not really playing as safe at this point in the game. So this is really a good opportunity, and really the best opportunity to do this would have been right now, when you're boosting, like if you got an ult, it's just about to be overtime. This is a split-second decision. Instead of turning to the left here, you should have just flicked your mouse upward and just shot that thing up in the air. And, try to probably make it. You probably want to land it like right around here in this area. Just ideally, if it explodes in the air, maybe you get a few kills here. You might anywhere between 2 and 4, I think, kills you could have gotten, depending on how lucky you were. So that's anytime you're like I said, in an overtime situation, I think those are the best times when you can just throw them up in the air and see what you can catch with that. But on the topic of ult usage, I want to kind of go through all of your other ults that you used in this game. Let's see, first one was at 221. Okay, so let's see. So this was a pretty good ult because really, if your payload's right here and you're trying to get it around this corner, you just want to clear this space off. I thought this was pretty good. I mean, could have been. I would have preferred throwing it up in the air as opposed to just dropping it there. But overall, that's good placement, good thought. That's an example of even if you don't get kills with it, you're forcing people to run into this house, and that's the whole idea is to get them away from the payload so you guys can move it forward.
All systems checked out. Now.
But anyway, so on to the next one. Okay, if this is the one I'm thinking of, this is just really unfortunate, as Strauss would say. God, that is just so freaking unlucky. Like I said, I've watched this several times. There's no way that Reinhardt did that on purpose. That is blind luck. He literally just, I'm going to charge a D.Va, and then right when you're ulting, it's like, the timing of that is just really, really unlucky. There's almost nothing you could have done here. Really, if it's technically, you could have thrown it up in the air instead of throwing it straight down the ground. That's kind of as far as sliding it down or going up in the air, I think both of those are good. I kind of prefer to go up in the air, mostly because if your Reinhardt's up, they've got 2 tanks up here. If you throw it up in the air, I feel like there's a good chance you're going to get some support players. And the Reinhardt can't go save them. So that's why I think probably what I would have done here, I would have probably shot it up in the air, and like I said, you've got a pretty good chance of blowing up Mercy or something, or maybe even that Widow out there. You never know. But let me see. Let's go to the next one. But yeah, that's just really travesty right there. But you killed him, so you guys got revenge. So. Okay, let me go back just a little bit further. Alright, so this is kind of like the other one, not a bad use of your ult, but like I said, because at the end of the day, you're creating space for you to move the payload, which is good, but like I said, I think one thing you could have done that could have made this just a little bit better is whenever the thing is going through my head, anytime I'm using an ult, the number one thing is what's the shield situation like on the other team. So in this situation, they have a Reinhardt. So the number one thing I would like to do with my bomb is force him to put up a shield facing the opposite direction. I think that's kind of, because anybody on the other side of that's still going to die. But now, your whole team has free range to shoot Reinhardt in the back. So personally here, I would have thrown the bomb on the other side of the Reinhardt and tried to, like I said, get him to turn around and, like I said, you guys can kill him, but you still get a kill out of it. And,
All systems checked out.
I think the payload's right over here behind you, so you're kind of creating space for your team to move the payload for a little bit. So still not a bad ult usage. I want to give you, like I said, kind of pause real quick on this. When I said the number one thing I'm thinking of is shield. What are the other team's shields? And I kind of want to give you. I've got two examples on my games. So. And both of these are examples where I messed up. So these are I just want to show you, because on both of these I had the right idea, but I just missed. The receiver was wide open, but I just overthrew him basically. So, actually let me rewind. So, and this is a situation where we're down a couple people. My thought is I'm going to shoot my ult, put it right behind the Reinhardt, force him to turn around, and we've got plenty of DPS that can go kill him. I just very, very foolishly miss. One thing is, that's good to do is if you can hit the lip or just the edge of a wall, it'll kind of slow it down, which is what I was trying to do. That's one thing I like to do is, like I said, hit the edge of a wall, and because it's very easy to overshoot it, it'll just go flying and go too far back. So if you can hit a side of a wall here, it'll slow it down. It'll kind of hit it, slide, and then go. But I kind of went too far to the right, and it just got caught in this little crevice here and just goes straight downwards. Does absolutely nothing. But the whole idea here is you can see what the thought process is of you got a Reinhardt shield. I just want to put that bomb directly behind that Reinhardt, force him to turn around, and kind of have a tough decision to make of, I want to protect my team, but I don't want to expose myself, kind of thing. And another example is with, let's say it's not a Reinhardt, let's say it's an Orisa. This is another example where I don't quite land it perfectly right where I still get a couple kills, but I overshot a little bit. I could have got a lot more here. But if you ever have an Orisa, what you should do is I kind of keep an eye on where her shield is. So I see a shield here. I'm shooting at it. I see that shield go away, and what I'm looking for right now is I'm looking for another shield to go up. Because the second another shield goes up, she's got to cool down, and she can't put another shield down for a handful of seconds. So the second I see a shield go down, I'm going to shoot my bomb and try to put it just on the other side of that shield. And so I kind of get an angle. I see a shield there, boom. And then that's where my bomb goes. And ideally, would have landed a little bit better. I still get a couple kills, but that's just kind of an example of how to deal with the shields. With Ryan, you want to put it directly behind the Reinhardt. With Orisa, you want to wait for her shield to go down, and then as soon as you see that shield go down, you kind of have to take advantage of the opportunity as soon as you can, because you want to throw that bomb so she can't, protect her team with that shield. So, yeah. Okay. So let's see. How many more of these do we have? Yeah. There's the last ult usage is the one we already talked about. 730. Oh no, 758. I already talked about this one. And I kind of mentioned that this situation is a little bit different because you're basically in overtime. and I kind of found an example of one of my gameplay. I was in a very, very almost identical situation to this, and I was like literally like almost exactly in this situation, and I just shot it upwards, and it was actually the game that you commentated, or Dooba, uh, you talked about this game already, but if you look at this, you know, there's a minute left, and I'm just like, I'm just running away here. I'm not thinking about using my bomb. This is literally just hey, we've only got a minute left. This is kind of a chaotic situation. Let me just shoot my bomb up in the sky and see what happens. And granted, I get you kind of have to get lucky. It got caught in the chandelier, which held it up there for just long enough for it to explode in the air, which was, like I said, sometimes better be lucky than good. But the whole point is you're kind of in the same kind of, like I said, it's basically overtime because the payload's about to get to the end. So it's kind of game on the line, desperation. They're just straggling to get to the payload and get on it and not lose the game. And that's kind of a great opportunity to just throw it up in the sky. They can't exactly run away because they don't want to lose. And that's kind of like it reminded me a lot of this same exact play because you're literally the same thing. I would just go straight up in the sky right now and see which of these guys you could kill. But overall, like I said, I think pretty much everything I had to say was just this was a good play. Here's how I could have made it a better play. I know if I had gone through just kind of watch watch the whole video in order. I'm sure there's a lot of good plays you made that I missed. I just wanted to skip around to the moments that were, it would be more valuable feedback for you. So I'm going to hop off and probably play some Overwatch. So hope you enjoyed.